Welcome everyone, and this is my video on my 2-year long campaign um, for this, and we'll be going over session 1 today. So, first of all, I would like to apologize about how bad my art might turn out to be because this was my first piece ever drawing with a drawing pad, so it might look a little rough, but all things considered, I think it's not too bad. For those that do not understand what the series is, I am doing a 2-year long campaign with some friends. I will be DMing for them as they asked me to. And I had come up with such an interesting story for it that I wanted to share it with y'all and let anyone who decided that they might be interested in watching it to get on and be able to watch it themselves. So for sessions 1 through 4, I will not be able to post the raw video of the actual um, session happening in person. Um, like live, like what actually happened live, because I had not decided to actually start the campaign until after start this um, series until after sessions 4 had already ended. And for sessions 5 and onward, hopefully I will probably stream them through Twitch, and then turn around and post the full video on here for any and all who want to watch that. So, some little things interesting and unique about my campaign that I want to go ahead and share with y'all. First off, for the level up system, I have a level. We'll be setting for the overall total campaign. I am planning on leveling them up a total of 60 times. They'll be reaching, or 59 times. No, not even that. They're starting at 4, so technically 56 times, and they'll be capping at level 60 for the final boss fight. I will be doing milestone level up experience instead of experience points, as that gives me a little more of a controlled way of leveling up the entire party. And I will be implementing a rule set of level 50, beyond level 50 rule set that I have found homebrewed online. Me and one of the players sat down and edited it so that way it's a little bit more fair and it cannot be as abused as easily for certain classes. Due to this also requires that everyone will have to multi-class at least once to figure out the system for leveling up, to make sure that no one reaches level 50 before the end of in a single class before the end of the game, because level 50 does have a very broken skill set. I have sectioned off my entire campaign into 8 mini campaigns, and during the first campaign, I'll give them 15 level ups. During the second campaign, I will be giving them 10 level ups. During that second campaign, they cannot exceed level 15 in a single class, with the exception of one member who is choosing to do a 20-20-20 build, where they have 3 multi-classes where they have level 20 in them. This requires that everyone has to spend the remainder of their 10 level ups that they have for the entire campaign during that section of the campaign during campaign 2, and gives us that washu. Additionally, I am also limiting everyone to multi-classing twice, which means that everyone can have a grand total of no more than 3 different classes. This way I don't have people doing one-offs into a bunch of small little things just to gain one small little thing, from that class. How I will be doing role play for our campaign, I plan on having each and everyone, instead of just rolling the die to try to interact with them, I want them to role play out their characters and tell me what they say or how they'd say it, and deliver it to me as if I am the character that their character is trying to speak to, and they're going to speak as if they are the character, their own characters themselves. And depending on what they say and how well they had worded it, either they can auto pass, auto fail, or if it was I could see it going either way, I will have them roll we'll have a persuasion check. But other than that, for the most part, we will be trying to stick it to role play for most of those situations. Additionally, for combat, if they can come up with unique ways for guaranteeing things to hit or guaranteeing kills or big damage or anything along those I will allow it. Additionally, I am currently planning on making it where the initial attack prior to combat starting, whoever attacks first will guarantee hit. So or at least that's something I'm planning on implementing in the future. I did not have it up to session 4, but I think I will be adding it for any future sessions to help give the little extra variety of spice of maybe we can take advantage of this new skill that I am putting in, or this new rule set, so that way they can actually get more creative with combat and role play it out and not just rely on luck of the roll. For AC, for armor class, I have a little bit different rule sets than what's strictly set in the book. For me, for AC, if you want to hit something, you have to break its AC. So that means you don't have to touch its AC when you roll the die. Instead of having to reach the AC that it has, you have go beyond it. So that makes it both easier for them. That makes it harder for them to get hit, as well as it makes it harder for them to get hit. This will make things more interesting, help keep them in check, and except for our ranger who has like +8 to hit. But this will ultimately just make it where everyone's AC can become a lot more of a problem, especially for a few of our players who currently have close to, I think, a 23 AC, which means that very few things can hit them. However, for saving throws, the same rule as before, you just have to meet the number, you don't have to break it. If you meet the number, you pass. So, following that, we have our talking policy. Prior to this session, we've been running into issues with everyone just talking all at once and being a big mess. Moving on for sessions 5 and beyond, we are planning to have everyone implementing a round table talking. So how we'll be doing this is that we will have turns, and one at a time, and when someone's turn it is, everyone else is going to shut up and let them talk for their turn. And they will talk to me, the DM, or to whichever character they choose to talk to. The DM, if he needs to step in and clarify some things or change some things or say that no, yes, or anything like that as he sees needed, he can. But for the most part, he will sit back and let players talk to each other and talk it out on their own, unless it is actually actively part of the conversation. With that, I think I can now introduce the entire party, starting with the people who first asked for me to bring this whole thing up together. We have Chilob and Arifirion. So Arifirion is a human fighter, and his backstory is that of a guild artisan. He's got a relatively basic past of being raised, no tragedy, no nothing, very, very vanilla. But he very much loves to map. He runs a mapping business currently and has been going about, and his maps are very well known all across the Prime Material Plane. He is very, very skilled at it, and he has been working with Chilob for some time in this mapping business. Him and Chilob are business partners, and currently he is and like I said, he is a human fighter. The variant of fighter that he is a battle master. Next, we go to Chilob. Chilob is a tiefling fighter. He is a eldritch knight with a backstory of sage. He's very, very invested in reading and very knowledgeable in a lot of things. He looks forward to learning more and is constantly reading. He has been working with Arifirion in this world and his mapping business to help learn many things about the world, and they both have mutually beneficial aspects that they bring to the business. Currently, the two have been running low on money and are looking for business in Pallet Town. Also, something I should mention, Arifirion plans to multiclass into Druid and Barbarian later on, and Chilob plans on multiclassing into Warlock and Barbarian. Next is our Human Ranger. So, real quick, our Human Ranger is named Cililifer. And He has a backstory of being a folk hero. He comes from a town where when he was young, he has a dragon mark born on his arm. When he was young, his best friend had died to some undead who had raided the village, and he had used the spells using his dragon mark to repel the undead who are his favorite enemy. He had met up with Silifir has met up with Shelob and Arifirion just recently and has been traveling with them after they had come by and mapped out his town, with him being a folk hero and being able to give them a layout of the knowledge. Currently, the two things that he currently plans on multi-classing into later on down the road are rogue and fighter. Next, we have our human rogue, Grognak. Very few members of the party know his name. The only member who has asked for his name is Shelob, and and in response to that, our human rogue Grognak replied, "I am the great Cornhulio. I need TP for my bunghole." And he's a very much of a jokester. He has a backstory of a Charlton, and the only other thing that he has as far as a past is that he owes everything to his mentor, who is probably in jail somewhere. He has no plans on going to help him and has no real purpose in doing anything or fighting. He's a big chicken, a big coward, and has no purpose, no reason to help anyone out, and in his mind, has no ties to the party currently. Later on down the line, he plans on multi-classing into wizard, so that way he can gain access to a larger toolbox of spells and stuff for being able to come up with unique ways to resolve encounters without fighting, as that is the one thing that he is not good at. Next, we have our Goliath Paladin, Sonia. Sonia is Sonia has been an acolyte and is very religious. She worships the deity Helm, and is a lawful neutral paladin. She plans on multi-classing into cleric when she gets down the road, and has recently just joined the party. Will be joining the party in the way that you will be seeing in this session, in this video. Next, we have Will. We have our Will, which let's see, we have our Dragonborn Bard. That's what it is. It's a Dragonborn Bard. Will plans on. He has got a backstory of an urchin, and plans on becoming a warlock paladin for his two multi-classes later on down the road. Other than that, he has not been making his character stand out very much, and has not got very much flavor to who he is. With that, we may now go into the story of our session. It all starts when Shelob and Arifirion are meeting with the Lord of Pallet Town, Lord Weissel. He asks them to go investigate an area where a bunch of missing people have been disappearing to, and check out what's going on there. Go out and map out that area, so that way they can get an idea of what's going on over there before they send adventurers. Arifirion and Shelob accept the quest and head down to the quest to ask to go post it onto a quest board at the nearby Adventurers Guild to see who they can recruit to help aid them in their quest. The people that come to help aid in the quest, looking for gold and pay, is one Dragonborn Bard, one Goliath Paladin, and one human rogue. No, not human, one halfling rogue. I'm sorry. The rogue is a halfling. What happens is, so the Arifirion, Shelob, and Silifir all go off with these new 3 members to their party to go investigate this area that they've been asked to map out. Coming along the edge of a cliffside, they come up to this opening in a cave. When they approach the opening in the cave, they get surrounded by 20 cultist fanatics, who all come at them. The first thing that happens is our halfling rogue Grognak runs and tries to escape before anything happens. He proceeds to be tranked by some nearby cultists in the woods, who then drag him into the cave. Then combat initiates. Initially, the range Siliphi here shoots his bow and attacks some of the cultist fanatics, who then turn around and gang up and beat him up a little bit. Next, we have our bard cast Eldritch Blast on some of them, who they then turn around and knock him out, and drag him into the cave. We then move on to some more cultist fanatics who come up, finish beating up the ranger, and drag him into the cave. After that, it comes to Arifirion's turn, and he promptly surrenders to them, gets tranked, and dragged into the cave. We then get to Sonia, our Goliath paladin, who, being the character she is, decides to charge into the cave to try to save them, falls into a pitfall trap, and falls unconscious, and then gets dragged further back into the cave. After that, we then have Caleb's character decide to just waltz into the cave. Shalab walks into the cave, giving up that there's no way that he can do anything or help save them at this point, or even fight off these cultist fanatics, and gets tranked and dragged further into the cave himself. They wake up to find themselves in the middle of a cultist ritual, which on the center of a magic circle with many cultists surrounding them, all speaking in a tongue unbeknownst to any of them. They don't recognize what they're saying, and they don't recognize the chant. They find themselves, and they also find themselves removed of much of their equipment, with the exceptions of a few equipments for certain characters that equipment is part of who they are. With that, they are all trying to struggle to figure out what's going on. They have also noticed a symbol that all of the cultist fanatics have on their robes. After that, the chant finishes, the circle glows white, and they find themselves in the middle of a new town unbeknownst to them, and none of them have ever been to, unbound, but also without the equipment that they had been fighting with before. Here, these people in this town all graciously welcome them, help them, thanking them for coming, and ask for their help in praising them, saying that they have been summoned by the demon, their god, to come defeat the demon lord. After some confusing moments with these people, they eventually find out this is Gerudo village, and it's got very weak stuff. They're very poorly equipped, and are asked to head out to go deal with some nearby goblins for them, so that way they can help. With this, thanks due to their request and the good pay that they obviously accept the quest. Now heading out, they walk one day, and when they reach the edge when they come to the edge up to the edge of the forest, before they go in, the ranger notices some goblin scouts. He does not think that the goblin scouts notice them, and proceeds to try to convince the party to walk on past, as if they don't notice them. The goblin scouts then proceed to shoot them, which leads to one very painfully long and excruciatingly painful combat scenario that I had initially designed just to be an extender, because I felt like the session was not going to be lasting long enough, and it would be ending prematurely. After a good long rest, after defeating these goblin scouts, they come up to the goblin camp. After they find themselves in front of this goblin camp, David notices, the ranger notices, one of a trap set out in front of the goblin camp, a very obvious pitfall trap. So, without thinking, he quickly grabs the party and rushes them up north in what is going to be considered the northern direction for my purpose of where the camp is, and trying to outflank it, and runs straight into a hanging net trap, catching him, the bard, the rogue, and his wolf, with him being a animal handler and having a wolf companion. With that happening, the three remaining on the ground then proceed to try to raid the goblin fortress, running into many traps along the way. While other goblins are taking crack shots at the party members still in the hanging net trap, as well as fighting off the members trying to raid the goblin camp. The goblin chief proves to be very difficult for them to hit, as he often keeps evading and swapping places with nearby goblins in the vicinity, just dragging on the fight longer and longer, annoying them and evading any and all attacks that could potentially really damage him. After a long scuffle with these goblins, they eventually finally defeat them and kill all of the goblins. Following this, they all get the opportunity to loot the camp, where they all venture in, search a house themselves, and get to keep whatever they find. Certain people get more or less items. Some people, and additionally, some of the other characters have picked up bows now that they have looked through town, been able to looted some bows off of these goblins and short swords. The town, due to the fact that the town lacked the resources to well equip the party, or the village did. With this, the party levels up and the session ends. Thank you for coming, visiting, and checking out my videos. I'm interested in seeing if anyone likes these videos and whether they want me to continue doing this, or if they have other things they'd like to see me post, like Let's Plays or anything they like for this channel. I am open-minded about it and have no quarrels with doing it, and I'm open to suggestions for games to do. Any games I have already played, I cannot give you the surprise factor for, but any and all other games that I have not played is free game. Also, if you are interested in seeing me play any other games, Let's Plays, any of those like, and posting videos for it, let me know in the comments, and that will more than likely increase the chances of me doing it. Also, again, I'm sorry about the art. I know it looks bad. I know it doesn't look really pretty, and it's really rough, and it's just a mess. But I have been really working. This is my first work, and I'm working on a lot of it. So if you liked this video, please leave a like and subscribe. That'll mean a lot to me as a new YouTuber, and it will also tell me that you guys are interested in my content and that I should continue making more and more. Currently, I'm making this just as an easy means of being able to keep track of everything for my D&D campaigns. But if people seem interested in this and they enjoy this campaign and the story that I'm telling, that tells me that I'm telling an interesting story, and that not only the people that I am playing for get to experience this great thing. Thank you, and have a great day. Peace out.